I mean, there's clearly a title that's been filed with the Secretary of State. Our clients don't
No, there
file the
hasn't.
titles.
No, there has not. There has not. That is a straight up lie.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes,
you're
sir.
very disrespectful. This is a
I
court proceeding.
apologize.
We're not sitting around the kitchen table. She's an attorney. You're not. If there was an attorney here, they wouldn't do what you're doing. And they wouldn't let you do it either. They wouldn't let you blurt things out and call people liars. There is a title.
A defendant refuses to accept responsibility for a bad truck deal he made. As the judge tries to explain how the loan actually works, the defendant interrupts, argues every point, and insists the bank should be blamed instead. When the arguing won't stop, the judge finally mutes his microphone and brings the hearing back under control. But the guy still can't be quiet.
Size for district court standards, 19,474.44. This matter was set for a while ago, but Ms. Escamilla was ill, and so we reset the matter for this morning. This is set for a motion for summary disposition. Ms. Lafferty and Mr. Wilson, you probably don't know what that means, but the plaintiff did file the motion, then they filed a brief in support of it. Essentially, what it means is that there's no dispute. A motion for summary disposition, as it was filed here, the plaintiff alleges that there is no material issue of fact that the debt is due and owing, and you haven't stated a valid defense. Now, they filed this claim, it was served on you, and you filed a very brief statement, which we accepted as an answer, response. We never purchased a truck from Royal RV. We test drove a truck from there, but it turned out to be a flood truck. So is it your contention that you never signed a loan with Omni Credit Union? There are certainly a lot of documentation. Now, you did object to the adjournment, and he also asked that the matter be dismissed. But Ms. Escamilla has a long history with this court of credibility, and she was sick, like flu sick. And so the matter was adjourned, and there's no reason to object. It just is what it was. So Ms. Escamilla, their contention somehow is that they didn't purchase a vehicle from Royal RV. You have filed a loan agreement with Omni Credit Union. What can you tell us about this?
Yes, Your Honor. So they did file the loan agreement, and my understanding is they also have had another loan with Omni, so it's not something new. And that basically something happened after they purchased the truck. But again, their deal, we just provide the funds, or Omni provides the funds. They don't have anything to do with the actual dealings between the dealership and Wilson's. So they did sign it under, the Michigan court rule I cited, that they didn't deny and file an affidavit that it wasn't their handwriting. So pursuant to that, it should be under the court rules prima facie evidence that they did sign the documents. And we did everything, or Omni did everything they could to lessen to lower the damages for them. They tried to explain to them that once they purchased it, that they were responsible, but I don't know what happened with the vehicle. It's unfortunate, but our contention is they didn't follow the Michigan court rules and as far as their responses, so everything should be an admission, and they also didn't deny the handwriting on that loan document. So we would ask that the court enter a judgment in our favor.
All right, Mr. Wilson, what's your response?
Sir, it's a lot more complicated and involved than that. This is the third truck that we attempted to purchase through Omni. Their vetting process, sir, is obscene. I've looked to buy a truck in Florida. I looked to buy a truck in North Carolina. I looked to buy a truck in Michigan, and then finally in Indiana. Now, each one of those loans, we went to go pick up the truck was subpar. It was check engine lights not running right. Every single time this has happened, Omni's worked with us through Their office is here local. Chelsea's actually went to high school with a couple of people that work here. They know each other well. Um, the day that we went to go get this third or fourth truck, from a different loan, it comes back. It's just got every problem under the book. We tried to work with a dealership on it. We told Omni day one, like, do not let them cash that check, because the dealership kind of Rochambeaued us outside in the parking lot at closing, and they kept the check inside after, we looked at the truck, gave it the final once over, and I'm like, this isn't gonna work. This truck isn't running. Like, and it's a $50,000, 40 some $1,000 truck. We got on the phone with Caleb. We had a verbal back and forth. Hey, this has happened again. Like, this, once again, you're telling us it's 110% through your vetting process, but this truck is clearly not what it is that they're selling is not a good product, right? So Caleb says, okay, good deal. Work with them on it, see what you can do. I'll take care of things from my end in the meantime. I said, all right, cool. I tried to work with him on it as far as, like, if they can get it fixed and they can get things going, then I'll sign the title work and we'll move forward on the purchase. They did not do that, nor could they, because the truck was in such disrepair that, they were just trying to off a truck that was garbage essentially onto somebody. Now, if you look at the work, they sold it back to themselves. They sold it back to themselves for $25,000 after they threatened to impound it from us and all this other stuff. I said, it's not my truck. I never signed the purchase agreement, the title work. I didn't sign that. And the reason I didn't was because we didn't want to purchase the truck. Omni was 100%, this was made known to them day one. And then we worked with them on it for a couple of weeks. They kept stonewalling us as far as what was going on with the money. And the eventuality of it was that they sat with their own truck down there for a pretty extended period of time, to the point that Omni, going back and forth with them, basically told us, well, it's going to go up to auction. And I said, well, how are they going to auction their own truck to someone else? That doesn't make sense to me, because they own it. And then they auctioned it to themselves at Royal RV for half of what they were going to make us pay for it. Mind you, this is a truck that's got rust in the headrests from Houston. I come to find out it's a service truck from Houston, Texas. They lied on the Carfax. It's just, none of this was on the level, but Omni's trying to act like, because a year has passed since the beginning of this, that they didn't do anything unscrupulous. And again, this is the fourth vehicle that we've went to purchase through Omni that we went to pick up. And one of them was a brand new 2024 Dodge Ram out of North Carolina that had and a diesel that had the entire catalytic converter set just ruined in it. Now, luckily, Dodge worked with the situation good. And because, I did buy that truck, straight up purchased it. And then the cats were bad. So then they took it back. They refunded the money. We have a history of this, because I'm not a guy who's going to go out and spend 50 grand on a truck or get myself locked into payments for something that isn't going to work. These vehicles, we use them for my business, which isn't doing great right now as it is. But this entire situation has really kind of put me on my butt this last year, not having a second vehicle, all but being like harassed every time I go into Omni to try to make this truck payment. It's a big embarrassing show in front of people in our small town. They've all but debanked me. They won't cash my checks. They won't, and they've acted like I've done something wrong. When this thing was talked about from day one, when that check went through, I said, hey, this is no good. This deal isn't going to work. I told them this is a flood truck. We went back and forth with the dealership on it, tried to work with them like Omni said. In the end, it was an untenable situation, and it just wasn't going to work out because A, they wouldn't fix the truck, and B, the value of the truck wasn't what they were trying to sell it for. The third time we drove it, we never had this truck at our house for more than an hour or two at a time, mind you. We did have it one weekend because we couldn't return it. The very first weekend we got it, we were like, hey, this isn't going to work. And they're like, all right, well, you got to bring it back. I'm like, all right, well, when? And then it was like a Monday thing. It's the only time we even ever had the truck. This was like an extended test drive. So by the time they got it back, it was, well, we're going to impound it if you don't want to come and get it. And then they sold it themselves for $25,000. That's where we're at with it, Your Honor. I never made a single payment on the loan because I didn't want the loan. I made that abundantly clear. And this is where we're at with the thing a year later or whatever. And now the vehicle itself, I would love for a third party, someone to check it out. because it is absolutely 100% a flood truck from Houston, Texas. And they've got multiple trucks just like this down there on their lot. And then we've got Omni telling us that it's 100% great truck, meets the
All right,
standard.
well,
let me
let me
stop
stop.
you. You haven't stopped to take a breath.
You've been talking nonstop for about 17 minutes. The
Power
power
went
went
out while you were
talking.
talking.
I think the record was still on. I've got everybody back now. Let me ask you a question. Where's Omni's $50,000?
Is with the dealership that they were supposed to recoup it from. We went back and forth for a week and a half about this money and the fact that the check was not to be cashed in the first place.
They don't have an agreement with the dealership. They have an agreement with you. You got hooked up with some crooked sale and you agreed with the bank to borrow $50,000.
No, sir. In reverse.
So, stop.
It was in reverse.
It's my turn to talk. You borrowed all this money and Omni Credit Union paid it to these people you bought the truck from. So they've got $50,000 of Omni Credit Union's money. Then they repossessed this and sold it. And what Omni is suing you for is the difference. They're only the lender. This isn't an auto finance where you buy the car there. It's a bank. You went to the credit union as you have in the past and borrowed money to buy a vehicle. They don't have any. Will you stop interrupting me? I'll let you speak. I let you speak for a long time.
Yes, sir.
They didn't have anything to do with what kind of truck you bought or who you brought it from. You had a history of borrowing money from them, so they agreed to loan you this money. So you took their money and gave it to this person you got the truck from, which apparently was. All right, what happened?
They were given a check. They were told not to cash the check. They agreed not to cash the check until terms were sorted out with the truck.
Who's they?
The dealership and Omni as well, and the dealership.
I know you don't.
Everything was put on hold.
When you get a check, it's a negotiable instrument.
You
don't buy a truck and say, "Hey, don't cash this check." Once Omni gives you the check, they lose control of it.
No, they can decide whether or not to allow the dealership to cash it, and they had the opportunity to not let them cash it. We had the discussion, and that was what was agreed.
How is that?
That's happened several times, sir. Several different times this has happened with vehicles with them because they do a vettership. They have to vet the vehicle in order to make sure that their purchase is good because that vehicle is now collateral for the monies. If the collateral doesn't stand against the monies that they've lended, then they won't lend the money. So they're not going to give me 50 grand for a vehicle.
What's your authority for that? That's just the way you think it is?
No, sir. It's what we all agreed upon.
The law to say they have the authority to do this, or this is just the way you believe it is?
We all agreed upon that, and I've seen that happen before with the situation. So I haven't not been in a situation like this with them before, and the way that they acted before was on the level, honestly, with scruples. This time they did not.
They who?
Caleb at Omni, and also Christine at Omni, or who I was dealing with.
All right, you're putting all this on Omni. Omni didn't have anything to. You selected this truck, found it, asked to borrow this large amount of money to apply to this truck. Now you at one point alleged you didn't sign it, but you clearly
did. Never sign any title work. No, I didn't. I never sign any title work. They never repossessed the vehicle because it was always in their name. It was always in Royal RV's name. I never owned the vehicle, Your Honor. I never signed title work for the state of Michigan. I did not purchase the vehicle.
I don't know about the vehicle. You signed a loan to buy the vehicle.
Right, and it's a collateral loan.
Yes. All right.
Right, and so without sufficient collateral, the monies can't be allocated toward the debt.
All right, according to what? According to who?
According to fiduciary laws and the FDC, like that's how that works. If
you
get a vehicle loan,
authority for that?
I could, not on the phone, not in front of me, but I could certainly look it up for you. If the bank,
Escamilla, what's,
so, and here's the other problem is the loan for the truck itself is actually over its end, just like the truck that I'm sitting in now. They've given me more money toward a truck that wasn't worth the value of the truck. This is something that Dana Nessel is dealing with right now on a state level. And Omni has done this to me 3 different times where I didn't know until after the fact. But after the fact, I find out that they're giving loan amounts of money out for vehicles that aren't even worth the amount of money that they're loaning for them, which is
none
being
of this is your
investigated.
fault. You find some fly-by-night somebody to buy this 2019 F-20 Super Duty. You don't do your due diligence. You asked to borrow
Sir, I did.
$41,000 and
Sir, I did. I did my due diligence.
Stop. It's
Yes,
like you've
sir.
got no responsibility in this. None of this is your fault. You went to Omni and asked to borrow $41,000.
Yes, sir, I
They
did.
gave you a check for $41,000, and that money was given to this seller of this truck. So they're
Ronald,
out $41,000 less what they sold the truck for after it was repossessed. So, Ms. Escamilla, what's your position regarding this?
My position is, again, Omni is not in the business of vetting vehicles. When someone comes and asks for a loan, they're in the business of making loans. And they had a history with the borrowers. We did submit exhibits to the court as well as to the defendants that show that there is a title in their name, that shows they signed a purchase agreement, that show that they provided a insurance.
there's no title in our
to
name. It's a
Omni.
lie.
And so they took out insurance so that they could drive the vehicle off the lot. So I dispute that they're saying that they never purchased the vehicle. I think it's unfortunate what happened to them, but the dispute really should be with the dealership. We also attached the documents that show that there was the repo cast. Omni, the reason it was sold back to the dealer is that Omni determined that was they could get the most money for the defendants to mitigate the damages rather than sell it at the auction. I think that the auctioneer RepoCast, who does this frequently, knew the values. But again, I feel for the defendants. This is unfortunate, but this is really a dispute with the dealership. Omni didn't sell them the car. Omni gave them the money, and they've been damaged and lost money from this.
Okay.
Looking for the title. Yeah, there are two $25,000 checks.
Your Honor, the truck was never. Your Honor, the truck was never titled in our name. That's a fallacy, and it was never repossessed. Repossession is a legal term, and it was never repossessed from us because it was never in our name.
Yeah, here's a copy of the title. Vehicle number, ID number, 2019 Ford F-250, titled in the name of Chelsea Nicole Lafferty and Kevin Carl Wilson.
No, sir, I never signed that title. They printed that. That was something they printed. That's nothing we signed. We did not register it in the state of Michigan. We did not purchase the vehicle. And this was all made abundantly clear within the first 3 days of this going on.
Yeah, you purchased insurance on this vehicle, and so you have to own it to buy insurance on it.
No, sir, you don't. You don't at all. We were told that we had to get insurance in order to test drive the vehicle. We did that. We held an insurance policy with State Farm at the time. That's all there is to it. If it was my vehicle when it took me off the road, I would have filed a claim. I didn't do that because I was told by my insurance company that was not necessary because we didn't own the vehicle.
That's hearsay.
Okay, I have proof of that. We can talk to the insurance company, but at the end of the day, my name is not on that title, nor would it ever be because it's a flood truck. I never titled that truck, therefore I never owned it. It was never repossessed because it was never in my possession.
All right. Ms. Escamilla, your take regarding the title?
Well, I mean, there's clearly a title that's been filed with the Secretary of State. Our clients don't
No, there
file the
hasn't.
titles.
No, there has not. There has not. That is a straight up lie.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes,
you're
sir.
very disrespectful. This is a
I
court
apologize.
proceeding. We're not sitting around the kitchen table. She's an attorney. You're not. If there was an attorney here, they wouldn't do what you're doing. And they wouldn't let you do it either. They wouldn't let you blurt things out and call people liars. There is a title in this matter where the vehicle is titled to you. There's proof that the vehicle was insured to you, and there's proof that you and your wife signed a loan agreement to purchase this vehicle. They are the people that lent you the money to buy the vehicle. They don't go out and inspect your vehicle to make sure it's worth that. If it isn't,
Yes, sir,
that's
they do.
on you. Then it gets
No, sir.
repossessed and sold. They sold it back to the company because they made more money doing that than they would by selling it at auction. You'd be shocked
sir.
at how low. I'm going to mute your microphone, Mr. Wilson. You don't have the respect to not speak when I'm speaking. And I'm going to tell you that you owe They sent you all of this documentation. They sent you the loan agreement. They sent you the notice that the vehicle was going to be repossessed and sold. They sent you a copy of the title to this vehicle. And they sent you the motion for summary disposition and explained what it was. You owe $19,474.44 plus cost, which is $160 in filing fee, service fee in the amount of $720, a motion fee in the amount of $200, and the statutory attorney fee of $75. The total is $19,806.64. You did electronically sign this loan agreement. They wouldn't have given you two $25,000 checks if you hadn't actually signed the agreement. They're the lender. If the vehicle was junky or dysfunctional or flood damaged, you have a cause of action against the people you bought the truck from, but not against the people that lent you money to buy the truck. Ms. Escamilla, I thought I had an order in here, but I can't seem to put my finger on it.
We did submit an order, but I can resend it to the
If you
email.
did, I've got it. Let me find it. Mr. Wilson, I don't have to like this, and you've got some impressions about how things are supposed to work, but they're not correct. You cite authority as though it is authority. She cites the authority, which is actually the authority in her brief. Plus, you didn't respond to the brief. You just wrote me a letter that says, I didn't buy this truck, when clearly you did. You can appeal this, but right now you're paying for a dead horse, a truck you no longer have. You may have a cause of action, as I said, against the company that lent you the money. The court cost and the damages are $19,806.64. They're in the business of doing this. They didn't just wake up one day and decide they were going to do this. She did a very accurate job, just a minute, of providing the brief, the legal authority, the evidence that supports their claim. And you have a 2-line answer that says, I didn't buy this truck. So go ahead and unmute your microphone and I'll let you get a final word in here. You can unmute it at your end. Let me try. Whoops.
Appeal it, and I'll hire an attorney, and we'll see you back here when we come back here. That's the only thing I have to say.
All right, thank you. You're good to go.
Can you show me that title with my name on it that I signed?
She sent it to you.
No, she didn't, because it doesn't exist. If that happened, then they forged my signature, because I never signed that title. It never got taken to the state of Michigan. I did not sign that paperwork, and neither did Chelsea. And we have emails to confirm back and forth with Omni, because
you can bring that up on your appeal. You could go to the Secretary of State and see where, I don't know where the title is now. I don't know if I got sent back, but he has the same copy of the title that was filed as an exhibit. Obviously, I wouldn't be very happy either, paying $19,000 for a truck that I no longer have. And maybe this was a bad deal all the way around, but it wasn't Omni Credit Union's bad deal, it was his. So according to him, you guys should just eat the $19,000. At any rate, Ms. Escamilla, I didn't give you a chance to say very much, but you pled this matter well. The pleadings speak for themselves. You've got all the exhibits, affidavits, documentation, the loan agreement. He can appeal the motion and hire a lawyer and see if he can get any traction, but I think my ruling here is accurate. All right. That was not much fun, but my ruling stands, and we'll send a copy of that, and then they can decide what they want to do. But this is a very unpleasant collection case, I suspect.